starting with the Indiana University Hoosiers cream. We've got the introvert Rick Lambo, Red Garden, Never Rejoice, and Z3 Ketchup on the bottom side of the map. Again, this team 0-4, but they're hoping to turn things around here as they get to take on their opponent, Sophchan, Michigan-Flint.
Yeah, Michigan-Flint is composed by Cold Inferno in the top lane with Popcorn. There you go. In the jungle, L23 Loki in the mid lane, Luna Mara as the bot laner, and Sophchan is the support. So both sides 0-4 with very distinct ranks all around for every player. We got 1 bronze, if I'm not mistaken. We got emeralds, we got platinum. Get fed in the beginning and then just really stomp at the end of the game. We'll see if this is going to be the case as the draft is finally here on our screen. The bans coming through, starting out with the Callista on the side of... Oh, who do we have on the left side?
I believe it is Hoosiers cream below me and then Flint Maze below you.
There you go. And those both ADCs coming out in play for the first 2 bans with mid laners. Briar, top lane there, coming out as well. A Shaco, as we mentioned, really going for things that can flip the game on its head on their own. Assassins now out of the table.
The Briar pick, obviously, kind of that first one that kind of stands out. I was wondering when we'd see Briar in the NECC. Hasn't had the biggest impact on the League of Legends stages. We do think Hoosiers Cream is actually drafting in the correct order, so that is not Isaiah top. I'm going to assume that is Isaiah AD carries. So they made a liar out of me, but is that Renekton top? Very, very strong top laner right now. I like the Fiddlesticks as well. I think the Fiddlesticks has a lot of interesting play. If Jarvan lands a Cataclysm and then Fiddlesticks jumps in on top, now Jarvan's trapped his whole team in the Fiddlesticks ult. So I really do like that sort of counter pick from Flint Maze.
Oh, me too. I think it works out really well. At the same time, we see the Pantheon coming into play. So a couple of things could be going differently because they are now drafting in order. That would be a Pantheon mid lane. And okay, we have quite a lot of AD damage, quite a lot of split push potential, especially with the Renekton, especially with roaming and gank potential with Pantheon. There's a little bit of AP from the Fiddlesticks. So what are we going to see in the bot lane? Maybe we're going to see a Kai'Sa coming through. And considering there's a Xayah on the other side, it's very interesting that we haven't seen a Rakan ban so far. And the Aphelios is going to be the next pick confirmed here for the red side.
Yeah, I'm really shocked that red side let Rakan through. I'm going to be curious to see. That will, of course, be a Rumble top. As I said, looks like there's a bit of miscommunication. It's a Taric. Wait, bro. As you alluded to, they did first pick the Xayah, as you can see there. That was an actual first pick. But then you just don't pick Rakan? You don't pick maybe the best support AD carry duo together? I'm a little confused on why the Taric got picked there instead of the Rakan. That Rakan kind of felt free.
It does. It really does. But if we think about, for example, that matchup here with the team fight potential, Lissandra plus the Taric, I think it's nice because if you can time it well, which is definitely the key word here, we're talking about a little lower level into Emergence Division. So we need to see from the blue team, Lissandra using that Frozen Tomb well coordinated with the ulti on Taric, because if you end up getting it wrong, you might as well just miss the invulnerability while you're already invulnerable. There's also like potential for stopwatches, but if it does get placed really well, it could be a long time where you really stall the team fight while the Jarvan is engaging, going into the backline, where you have the Equalizer coming from Rumble and Xayah just really dealing P damage dealer on the side of UMF, and that might be a little harsh considering there's a Rumble and a Lissandra on the other side. Is it going to really shape the builds into the mid game? We'll see as we jump fish into the first game of our best of 3, IUC versus UMF on the Rift.
I was really expecting maybe a more aggressive start again. Both these teams come in at 0-4, so definitely they want to make an early mark in this best of 3. So a little bit shocked we didn't see anything more than we do see UMF. A little bit pushed up in that river, but I don't even think they got a ward down. They did get a ward. Great job by Cold Inferno on that blue buff of IUC. So they're going to have some decent tracking on Lambo as he goes to that second buff. I think that's a very interesting top lane matchup that we didn't get to touch on, Sophchan. Of course, Rumble's going to push lane really well with Flame Spitter, but the Renekton Q also kind of shoves right back, and I'm curious if one of those is going to maybe be a little bit more reserved, force their opponent to push in, and then you set up a really, really easy jungle gank as they're trying to go for CS on the wrong side of the lane.
I think we might see something as the sorts of 14 minutes, 15 minutes into game, a lane swap between Pantheon and Renekton, because we know how much the Renekton wants to heal up with their abilities. As soon as you have the mid game, the Liandry starting to pop up for Rumble, and that Equalizer dealing so much damage, so much burning damage, we might see that switcheroo in the mid game. And at the same time, it's very interesting what we can see in the mid game, in the mid lane as well, for the Pantheon and Lissandra matchup, because when he goes in for the stun, Lissandra can snare him back if she can time it really well. So maybe it could even be an interrupt. I don't know if that's a actual thing that does happen. But so far, early game, very calm, aside from UMF really being more aggressive with that vision, and as well with the positioning from their solo laners.
The ward has faded for UMF and Cold Inferno on that blue buff, so they don't have a great idea where Lambo is. We do see Introvert doing a great bit of damage there. He's going to land the slow. Second one's going to go out here as well. Gotta watch that heat if you're Introvert. Stun's going to land. Cold Inferno going to eat the ignite. Flashes away. The flash forward with the Flame Spitter, and it's first blood for Introvert, baiting in the Pantheon. And we're having alligator for dinner tonight if you're IUC.
Great job there by the Introvert, realizing that they had enough damage, even though there was a push forward there, having to use your ward for early vision in the bush. There was the stun coming out from Cold Inferno. That did not matter. They had more range. They had the ignite, which is definitely the biggest advantage that the Rumble is going to have in this early game against the Renekton. So it's funny to see that they decided to go for walking back to lane. Turns out Rumble didn't push as much as they could have really gotten to. So they went back walking, but mid lane, Garden is, oh man, dropping very low. Loki.
The Ignite's going to go out on the Garden. Loki might turn this. But oh, just a great auto attack from Red Garden. I think maybe Loki got a little bit too aggressive once that Ignite came out. Now that's 2 kills. Meanwhile, bot lane, you see Sophchan going to take a little bit of damage, but really right now, not a whole lot of action bot side, but a great start for IUC everywhere else in top and mid. 2 solo kills, exactly kind of what you want to see here, Sophchan. We do see this Fiddlesticks is going to make his way to top lane. Popcorn maybe looking for a gank here after that red buff, but maybe not. Going to have to go back to base and just look for somewhere else. And now actually going to get spotted out by the Jarvan, so UMF not really doing a whole lot with their jungler right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's unfortunately something that you need to see from a Fiddlesticks. You need to see them power farming. You need to see them scaling and leveling up, because before you had the level 6, well, you're not doing much at all. But they are level 4, trying to see something here. There is vision from the side of IUC in the bot lane, so everything is very well scouted. They're not going to be caught up by surprise, which is something that UMF is trying to do, so wasting some time. Mid lane, Loki going in, but there's still so much that the Lissandra can do once they decide to retreat, because she's just going to keep on kiting forward. But this bot lane here still remains very advanced for IUC, and because you have so much vision and because you know the Fiddlesticks is so slow, you really can give yourself that lenience.
I think Loki has to be very careful. Red Garden has a slight EXP lead. If this Lissandra hits 6, it's just going to be game over. There's the glacial path forward. You do see Jarvan coming up as well on the map. Meanwhile, Introvert going to put some Flame Spitter damage onto Cold Inferno, but I think this is a solo kill the moment Red Garden levels up, if Lambo doesn't decide to just get involved anyway.
Yeah, no vision there, Fish, and they're just waiting for one false step to go flag and drag in that mid lane. We'll see if this is going to be a waste of time or not. There we go.
There's the flag and drag
nice.
with the flash. Loki able to flash away, though, puts up the Aegis, and Red Garden just hit 6. They needed to wait like 10 more seconds, and that was a dead Pantheon.
Yeah, maybe it was a little preemptive, but bot lane going forward pretty aggressive. Popcorn in the top lane, too.
Doesn't have the Fiddlesticks ult quite yet. We did see both top leaders have hit level 6 stun. Meanwhile, bot lane is going to land onto the Braum. Never Rejoice is out of mana, however. The Xayah has to basically use auto attack, see a couple of feathers down. Three stacks concussive blow. Fourth one's going to land on to Ketchup here. Very slow does this Tarek. This might be enough with the white gun. It's Never Rejoice trying to run away. Stun will land onto the Braum. And unfortunately, the health bar is just too high to do land a root, but I think they'd be very careful with Never Rejoice not having that much mana, especially for the Featherstorm. And they're going to back off here.
Top lane still being very aggressive for the introvert, and you would expect that. Bot lane, I love what we see from UMF. My god, they haven't reset. There it is, the Pantheon finally going back to the fountain. As they, well, they don't have TP, so they're going to be coming back to lane. Bot lane also reset, so it's the first one that we'll see for the AD carries. And Fish, one thing that I found very interesting about the performance there in the bot lane was how we saw the concussive blows being very well split out between Never Rejoice and Ketchup. By that, I mean they were really staying at the edge of the fight, so that couldn't be the final blow to stun with a concussive blast. Oh my god, goes in with the ulti just to clear out the wave as the Sunder can just use the glacial path away.
I was wondering if that's what we were going to see from Loki, because, of course, did not bring the teleport as you had mentioned, Sophchan, so that Grand Starfall has to be used really to just try and stay even in that lane. Of course, already down a kill, down 12 CS. Meanwhile, Cold Inferno going to go in, land the stun with the Slice and Dice, has the Dominus available. There is no equalizer. Dominus going to get popped, but just simply cannot get in range. Can the Renekton? Great use of the Flame Spreader and the Electric Harpoon there by the Introvert, and that's a wasted ultimate. Now, one more time, Cold Inferno going to go in. He overheated as well on the Rumble. Has to flash away. He has no defenses, but he lived.
Oh my, one flash was enough, but that was too close for comfort. Cold Inferno knows, especially now, even though they were one level behind, they really can do more bot lane, going super aggressive. Luna Mara, they have all the wave shoved here, but the Fiddlesticks is on the other side of the map.
It's a dangerous game you're playing, Loki. This is, you're waiting for that Frozen Tomb. Absolutely punish you. We have had an Ocean Dragon up for the last 3.5 minutes, but our two junglers have decided that objectives are optional tonight, at least in game one. We might get a great gank here from Lambo. He's got the Cataclysm. There's the Dazzle as well. The double knock with the Flag Drag. The flash forward with the Featherstorm to land the root. Lunamara goes down. I think it's just a matter of time. That was a lot of damage going out randomly there. I think that was a visual bug.
Ooh.
As we get a double kill, a solo kill, and make it a fourth kill across the map for IUC. Only Fiddlesticks is left alive after IUC goes 4 in every single lane.
Full score lineup here for IUC as they have full priority for the first Drake of the game. As you mentioned, took a little bit for both of the teams to do it, but when IUC decided to really engage, they committed and they got one kill at least on every single lane at the very same minute. Very well done. Super great coordination, as it's difficult to expect from teams which have such different disparities in those ranks, but they're making it work, especially because they have the Jarvan, doesn't rely as much on scaling for those items, and having level 6, the Cataclysm, finishing it all off. Great start.
Now you have to wonder, it's still early, it's only a 3k gold lead. Uh-oh, Cold Inferno gonna walk right in. Loki with the great bait, but he uses the shield. Is there gonna be enough damage? Pop-up core gonna be forced to get over the wall with the ult to secure the kill, but a great job at least for UMF to get on the board. A great little bait there by Cold Inferno, and they're still showing some hope here for UMF after a very dismal first 10 minutes.
It was an easy pick, I would say, because they had been doing that Herald for a while. Okay, yeah, they fall here on the mid lane, and Lambo being caught up between a rock and a hard place. Are they going to escape?
You get the flag and drag over the wall. You do see Loki coming over. Here comes Ketchup as well. Red Guardian goes over the wall, going to use the Frozen Tomb. Double Dazzle Stun's going to land as well, and Lunamara will go down, and unfortunately, the support will follow. 4-0 for Red X Garden already on this Lissandra. Absolutely a great start for the mid laner for IUC.
8-1 on the board, around 3,000 gold ahead that IUC has built for themselves thus far, especially taking out the first Drake as well. That is massive. We have a team with Jarvan, with Rumble, with Lissandra, and finally with the ADC there with the Xayah. a team that loves doing team fights, and they are coordinating for good roams all around the board, so they really can come up with those 3v3s, 4v4s anytime they want, because they really have advantage on it.
Now you can see Never Rejoice finishing that Kraken Slayer. It's just going to have so much more damage on the bottom side of the map. And what do you want to see from UMF? I mean, the game's not over by a long shot, Sophchan, but I mean, the item disparity is already growing. The gold, as you mentioned, is now up to 3,000. I mean, what do you want to see from UMF to make sure they don't let this game just snowball out of control?
I would say they have so far had quite good vision all around. They have been placing good offensive wards, which helps them very much, but they really need to see one step ahead. So we saw a couple of those rotations being a little too slow from the side of UMF, so they were getting caught and really dying before any of the other teammates could arrive and help. So they have to be a little more proactive. They have to be a little more reactionary when they want to go for these kills. Oh, is it going to be a dive? No, it's not. Loki very close to that though, but Popcorn is there to try to kite it back. Still, we see Java and Lambo getting very comfortable on the enemy side of the jungle. So Fish, overall, UMF have to identify where can we be. You know, the Javan is in your enemy, is in your jungle, then try to invade the enemy jungle. Try to really track where you can be, so you are on the opposite side of the fight, because you're not going to win any of those skirmishes.
Not only that, when try and find a spot for this Herald that is already 3/4 of the way done and not been used yet, find a spot where you can get at least some place. That extra gold is going to help tremendously. Equalizer
Holy moly.
plus Ignite going to go down. Dominus should be enough to keep Cold Inferno alive. I do not think this Lizard is long for this world if they do not get this back off. Doesn't look like Introvert really has any interest in pushing for a tower dive, so a safe play there for... No, please, no. Renekton.
Oh my god, they stayed.
Renekton, no.
No ulti. They stayed. Oh my god, even the Comet is dealing so much damage. Confirm the dive, but they have been stunned. They escaped, they forced a flash.
Meanwhile, mid lane, we do see Lambo able to just barely flag a dragon. Great Frozen Tomb, and here comes the bot lane. Dazzle is going to land onto the Pantheon. Never Rejoice going to find one. Will Loki get away? Featherstorm into the reek. No, they didn't call the feathers back. Oh.
Wait, did they get just out of range or something? That was definitely something weird happening there, where they couldn't bring the feathers back. But that's what we mentioned, Fish, so far. IUC really being so fast on those responses, going out to the mid lane, going out to the bot lane, just really helping the rest of the team. There's a TP in the flanks, and Lunamara is definitely in trouble.
Here comes a Red Garden. There is no Frozen Tomb. Great flash from Lunamara, but the root is still going to land into a follow-up route. The Moonlight Vigil comes in, but it's not going to be enough, as Never Rejoice will not miss out on that one. And they will pick up their third kill. It is now 11-1 IUC, and this is where, if you're UMF, you've got to find ways to limit the amount of deaths you're giving over, because this game is starting to get away from you. The gold lead now up to 4,000. This is going to be a second dragon for IUC.
And it was such a good chain of CC as well, Fish. That was beautiful. You mentioned just there was no Frozen Tomb. Doesn't matter. You go in, you get the snare, you get some slow, you force out the flash, you use your Everfrost, then you get the flash forward with a stun coming out from catch-up that was so far behind with Never Rejoice that you just get enough of stalling for the Xayah to get the final blow. Popcorn going in the top lane.
Loki's there as well. We've seen this story before. Unfortunately, Loki doesn't know that they were sitting on top of a ward. We saw the Equalizer go out, I guess just to farm some minions. Don't know if maybe Introvert was trying to bait. So Loki and Popcorn are going to go down to the bottom side here, try and chase down Red Garden. This Lissandra just going to start spamming the ice shards. Meanwhile, they're going to get surrounded there.
Ooh.
Great Fear prevents the use of the glacial path. They're going to walk right into Lunamara. There is no flash available. It's also going to come down. Frozen Tomb used defensively. Never Rejoice is here. Unfortunately, Ketchup can't get in range. And that'll be a shutdown. A great roam from UMF to get a shutdown, a massive one, onto the mid laner for IUC.
No, and Loki going into Introvert. Now, actually, Introvert going on to Loki as they're really burning them down. One last hit is not enough. And the Ignite is wasted by Loki as well, just pushing them back.
There's an Ignite up for Introvert, probably jamming the key, just barely missed out of range. We do see an objective bounty. We've all been there. You're spamming ignite. You're like, I swear it went off. Maybe
I was sure it was in range. Oh,
great ult here for Popcorn. Oh no, the ignite went off. Oh,
the ignite goes in. Why would you go there? Wow, they must have thought that it was on cooldown. That's why they went in, just to get the assist. But if you're a Pantheon, you can get the assist from afar. You have your Q. Very unfortunate for Loki as they do go down. Now totaling to 12 kills to 3 for IUC. UMF trying to get things under their grasp once again, but they have to be a little more conservative when they are alone in those lanes, because when they have the backup, they do well. But Fish, when they leave their players alone, we saw that happening with Cold Inferno, we saw that happening with Luna Mara here in the bot lane. They have to be just a little more careful.
Yeah, they need to make sure, as you said, I think if they stay grouped up, I like their chances. As you pointed out, whenever they've been grouped, they've done well. I think this is stuff you want to avoid, not only solo play, but I don't think you want to leave your bot in a 2-on-2. Never Rejoice has the level advantage, but Luna Mara has red plus white. Maybe that turns the tide. Meanwhile, top lane, the Rift Herald is being used there. Grand Fall going to be popped there by Loki, trying to pop on to Introvert. Introvert's going to get the first one, but immediately get taken down. The Jarvan wall will fall. A ton of damage going out, but a double knockup with the flag and drag. Lambo going to get sniped by Loki. Now Red Garden has to try and get away. This Lissandra, unfortunately, just kind of being held back by her cooldowns. Glacial Path to safety. But an overall 2-for-1, and UMF starting to close this gap here a little bit. You can see Luna Mara.
All those weapons you mentioned.
Oh, the Braum ult missed. I think you just disengage here if you're a UMF after that.
Yeah, you use your cooldowns. You're going to miss the opportunity with your weapons because you're going to need to farm this wave. But really, kudos to UMF on that fight there in the mid lane. Okay, you have the Everfrost hitting. Oh, wow. That was some damage.
I don't think Red Guard respected the empowered Pantheon Q execute. That was absolutely insane. As you said, the Glacial Pad, the item used there. Hey, this is what you needed of UMF, right? You needed IUC to just get a little bit too cocky and start to throw away that gold lead. Now it's down to 2K. You've been able to pick up a couple of kills, got a couple of shutdowns. This is what you wanted to see if you're UMF.
And you're really shrinking the lead for gold. UMF now, as you said, just barely on the 2K mark. Things are looking much more dominant for the side of UMF because those mid-game fights can do really well for them. One thing that I was concerned is the lack of AP damage. So really, Popcorn has to make a difference. And this might be just the situation.
Lambo there as well. Gonna flag drag over the wall into the Cataclysm, but here comes the Fiddlesticks ult in return. Are we gonna see the Taric ult? We've been waiting for it. It is going to come out, but it does not land in time. It does get off for Ketchup to live, but a great teleport here from Cold Inferno means it's a double kill. Frozen Tube going to be used. A great feather recall from Never Rejoice. Absolutely shredding them. Meanwhile, mid lane, we do see Stopwatch going out. This could be a quad kill for Never Rejoice, and it will be. It looks so great. But the Taric ult kept Never Rejoice alive, and that Xayah now 7-0 has way too much damage when they're given that invulnerability that the Taric ult provides.
We talked about it in Draft Fish. We really did. The timing with the Taric ult could just be enough to get Never Rejoice in a good position to really take down a team fight. Quadra kill for IUC's ADC as they really knew how to play it. Although the ult wasn't fast enough to get the save on the other teammates, it was just enough for the ADC. And being 7-0-1, that is totally fine. IUC getting themselves into the third Drake. It's a soul point for them. And it's going to be an Infernal Soul for this game, Fish. Maybe our curse for the Cloud Soul has been broken. Because if IUC can get this one, things might just be escalating really quickly.
Infernal Soul on a 7-0 Xayah is problem territory for UMF. And we're starting to see where later in the game, this Cold Inferno is going to take a ton of damage and already committed to slice and dice. This is once again roast gator for dinner for Introvert. But we're starting.
It's a barbecue.
Yeah, it's We've got helpings for everybody. Just go to Introvert's house. He's serving a Blizzard morning, day, and night up on that top side. Now 0-5. Meanwhile, Loki going to commit on to Ketchup. Never Rejoice is there as well. Got to be very, very careful as Red Guard's going to come in. Ring of Frost going to go out. We do see the ult go down. And meanwhile, Introvert does get taken out. So at least Popcorn able to get some revenge. Flash forward by Red Garden. You see the Cataclysm going to be flashed away by Lunamara. Should at least be a kill onto the Braum. So an overextension there from UMF. Going to hand a couple of kills right back to IUC.
They need to realize where they need to disengage from a fight. So, like we saw in the bottom lane, there was that try for Braum ult to a kill in the bot lane. Didn't work. Just retreat. It's fine. Wait for your cooldowns. Get the XP. Get the gold from the waves, because it's just so much better than give away any more gold, especially for that bit of a fed Xayah on the enemy team. So you got to be careful on when you commit to things, because UMF really have great potential on the team fights, but if IUC right now, especially with Xayah, can melt down this Baron, things could get rough, while Fiddlesticks is on the other side of the rift.
Popcorn, as you said, actually in a battle here with Red Guard and Loki coming down here as well. Red Guard needs to be careful. I don't think this is a... There's also more reinforcements on the way. There's the notification. Baron has been slain. Frozen Tomb going to come out. Double root as well. Popcorn has to use the belt defensively. Loki coming down. You can see Braum on the other side. Red Guarding put it on a masterclass.
What in the world?
Play. A shutdown. No, Lunamara, we do not want to engage this. This is a very scary spot here. They are going to get their root. It looks like Lunamara just out of range. They do lose one, but what a play by Red Garden. There's some excellent kiting in what ended up being a 1v4.
And it would have been just a direct kill on Popcorn. Popcorn just from the very start of that fight. But because of the proto bell you mentioned there, the dash was enough to get them away from the arcane comment. Because that rune was just really going to be the last hit on the Fiddlesticks, but it wasn't. So I was going to mention, it doesn't really matter that Lissandra is on the other side of the map. She does have to be, like, as a summoner spell. It was on cooldown, so it's no matter, because IUC was taking out the Baron. It was going to be a distraction. But then she not just distracted 2 people, turned it into 3 people, turned it into 4 people, but she killed 2 of them. She killed 2 of them, being alone, just in the kiting masterclass you mentioned, Fish. So things are looking so great for IUC now, where we saw UMF shrinking that gold lead to, or in this case, that gold deficit to 2k. Now we have increased that again, IUC on around 5,000 ahead, and getting into a soul point in 1 minute 30.
Loki gonna get knocked up, and here come the reinforcements. First time IUC has really found themselves really in a 1v5. Do think there's a bit to question why we have all 5 players down on this side of the map, Sophchan, is there's a Baron up on 4 of them. And the one thing I want to see from IUC, which this play is not helping, with Dragon still a minute 15 away, they're not getting anything out of this Baron buff. If we had a Baron power play, the gold would be very minimal. There's no towers. Like, they need to start pushing with this gold lead.
Yeah, they didn't even get the steal on the jungle. You saw that Fiddlesticks guaranteed the blue buff. So I agree, definitely questionable. We mentioned 1 minute 30 for the final Drake Soul here. Point for IUC. They're not in the lanes. They're not buffing the minions. They're not splitting with Siege. I want to see what's going to happen. No Cataclysm for Lambo. So whatever does go out in this next team fight is going to be a little more in the favor of UMF. So this could be the moment where they can finally deny something in regards to objectives, because so far things are really, really getting out of control. 3 Drakes, 3 towers, 1 Baron on the side of IUC. Oh, goes in Red Garden.
There's the Cosmic Radiance going to come down. It's going to land on Ketchup and Red Guardian. Grand Starfall on the backside. Can anyone get to Never Rejoice is the question. Loki being burned alive by the Flameslayers. Lunamara is going to pick up 1, but no one is on the Xayah. The Xayah is simply free hitting. Finally, somebody chases him down, but it's an ace. You've got to go after the AD carry, Sophchan. Nobody looked in Xayah's direction.
They did not. 9-0-4 Fish, as they are going for the mid lane, taking down tier 2. IUC could even solo this Drake. We gotta be careful. 20 seconds for Popcorn to come back. I think it's still going to be enough. They really have enough damage to just melt down this objective. Look at them go. This Xayah is just so instead, they have Navoris, they have the Kraken Slayer, they have the next item almost finished as well with the Vampiric Scepter as well. So anything and anyone that really goes next to them got Taric, healing, got Vampiric Scepter, healing. Everything looking good for IUC because UMF haven't found any way of reaching the enemy backline.
That last fight, I mean, it was a perfect fight, it felt like, for UMF. I thought the Cosmic Radiance being used on Lissandra, maybe a bit of a misplay. You still have the Frozen Tomb. I mean, you talked about that in the draft breakdown where that timing needs to be perfect, and it felt like a little bit of an overcommittal. You don't get the Xayah with the immunity completely open to a Crow Storm, to a stun from Cold Inferno. But nobody even looked, never rejoices. Wait, they have to. If they don't rejoice over that, I don't know what will make them rejoice. If you're an AD carry who's fed and the enemy team isn't even looking at you, like, that is a dream come true.
It really is. So after we saw IUC really just wasting that Baron buff power play, they at least got something going on. It was a little bit of a scuffle on the beginning of that team fight with the Glacial Path over the wall, using that Radiance for just Alessandra alone. But then, well, that power has been so great in regards to damage that even though most of those cooldowns were not on the table, UMF couldn't reach the backline. And to be fair, I think they still can do it. They have the Proto Belt for Popcorn. There's a Rabadon for themselves as well. Going into a ultimate into the backline can work if you get a good setup for a flank. And that's not that difficult. Get the vision out, get the Fog of War into your advantage, and then things could really start coming back up for UMF in this game.
The other thing, I mean, we were talking about it for IUC before that last team fight, and I think it still applies. Where is the pressure? This is a 6,000 gold lead, and we have 4 towers down. We have only the mid-tier 2. We're not pushing lanes. This is just almost a recipe for disaster, Sophchan, because you're not getting objectives on the map that could help you win. It's kind of like IUC. It's just like, we'll wait for Baron to spawn, and we'll take Baron, then we'll wait for Elder to spawn, and then maybe we'll push, and that's just asking for more gold to get picked up by UMF, potentially a steal onto a Baron or an Elder Dragon. I think they need to start looking to finish this game and not set up over an objective that they really don't need at this point.
Yeah, agreed, especially when we saw them utilizing the Baron buff very little. All going on here, and the Cataclysm connects.
And the Equalizer as well. Popcorn is simply going to go down. Grand Starfall way too late from Loki. And this might be the last stand for UMF. We do see a great Frozen Tomb onto the Braum on the other side as well. Lunamara just going to be forced to run away, throw out a Q. They will pick up this Baron, 3 kills as well. You still have to wonder, at some point IUC has to stop winning team fights and start actually destroying the enemy nexus.
Yeah, we're getting to 30 minutes. Let's see what they're going to do with this next Baron buff, because it is them confirmed IUC the second Baron of the game. So I hope to see a good division of efforts into your top lane. You have Rumble there, I like it. You have Lissandra in the mid lane, I like it. Get someone in the bottom side. Actually, I would prefer to see Lissandra in the bot lane and the bottom laners in the mid lane. So you have the TP available for the Lissandra whenever it comes up, and she can reposition much better than the Xayah can, especially with her mobility as a Lissandra herself. So that could be a good position for them. They decide to go for a 3-stack here in the mid lane with just a Rumble on the top side. We'll see if they can actually finish out the siege. But instead, they are really not pushing that much of that lead. And what is Javan doing? Lambo, what are you doing? Are you just having a stroll in the park? What is it?
We're padding the gold stats at this point. Maybe gonna find a pick here on the Popcorn. But no, you're totally right. This is like classic 1-3-1 territory. Rumble topside, Lissandra bot, and then your ADC support and jungler in the mid. Why are we taking blue buff? Why are we taking blue buff?
Yeah, like, why do we have these two? Like, why is the Taric with Jarvan? Doesn't make sense. Protect the Xayah. That's the only thing you want. Look how absolutely clean is the clear up for Never Rejoice in the mid lane. Everything they want to be in regards to pushing lanes, they can do it. Even though Lissandra is dealing massive damage, Lambo taking massive damage there in the jungle, but Popcorn can't finish anyone off. they are going about it. They are finally going about it. It's open T2 on mid and top lane, but still really going on turtle steps.
I mean, I'd even be happy if we just 5-shove tops, get some super minions going. Super minions start shoving as the Elder Dragon spawns. As we do see, here comes the Crowstorm, the last-ditch effort for UMM. We see the Grand Starfall as well, and the Introvert gonna try and throw out a huge equalizer, but gonna get taken out. The Cataclysm goes down, but keep your eye on Never Rejoice. Full HP, gonna get flanked here. Cold Inferno, never mind, he stops, he gets frozen, he turns into a cold crocodile as he goes down as well. And I think this should just about do it. The ace with the Baron. This should be enough for game for IUC.
Cold Inferno's Renekton was really putting a freezer. IUC with Baron buff, destroying the base next. The turrets are going to be next. And finally, they wrap it up after 30 minutes of pure dominance, Fish.
Great job by IUC, right? This is going to end up as a 13k gold lead. I mean, there was that moment where their gold lead shrunk down to 2k, thought UMF was making some great plays, but really at the end of the day, it came back, was good, and I saw the Tarek thought process. If the same pick order starts to come through, what if they get Xayah Rakan, which is even scarier than Xayah Tarek? That's the other thing, like, take at least one of them off. We are going to see at least the same two first bans, the Callista and the Jhin being taken away. Potentially Lunamara just doesn't want to play against the Jhin. There's that Briar once again. I think IUC has the right idea. Nothing went wrong for them. Just ban the same three things. I like the Rumble takeaway. Great job. I think that was one where Cold Inferno, he was a hot lizard because he was being burned alive on repeat every like 3.5 minutes. So I like that. Xayah. This has got to be Xayah. This has got to be Xayah.
It's gotta be Xayah.
It has to be Xayah.
It has to be Xayah last ban. Okay. All right. We are making some suspense, but as you know, the picks are going to be top to bottom here, so they're not in the actual order that they were picked. So we can let you know that the Xayah was the first pick for IUC.
Yeah.
Because why would you not? So at least we know that they have consistency. And not just with the fact that the Rakan just matches with the Xayah because they are made for each other, not ironically, we know that if there is a Jarvan, as it is the case, the Rakan is just really dodging the abilities. They can go in, they can leave the Cataclysm, they can just be in premium spot every single time because of that amount of mobility. But we see already some things differing on the table. IUC goes for the K'Sante in the top lane, whereas on the other side, the Renekton remains, but jungle goes to Lilia and a Galio mid.
I like the Galio mid. Again, I think that kind of hits that spot, something that goes neutral against Red Guardian. I think you keep that global map presence with the Galio ult that you kind of had with that Pantheon ult. So I like that, but I think this matchup just feels so much better for Loki. And the bot lane, Lunamara is going to run it back. Never Rejoice is going to run it back. And I think this time, there's no reason. Yeah, you just lock in the Rakan. I mean, even the splash arts go together, as you said. I think that's the one concern. I love the Rel pick. I love what UMF did, Sophchan. But then I look right below me and I see Xayah Rakan and I say, no, no, no. How did you let that happen of all things?
Yeah, and it's not just because Xayah Rakan are good together. It's because of how great Never Rejoice was in the previous game. So having a support that even melds better with that champion, okay, you gotta be scared. But as you said, UMF has a composition now that feels much more solid. I like the Lilia, so it's a team that goes for junglers that are AP. Fiddlesticks before, Lilia now. Lilia is not going to heavily rely on that level 6 because she has better clear in the early game for that jungle. Neutral matchup for Lissandra versus Galio and the Rel. I am totally on board with you. The Rel, I think, is a great addition. Having her instead of the Braum, you have more mobility. You have an engage that's going to be a little more straightforward. So when you have the Glacial Fissure, sometimes it can hit, but sometimes it just feels like it doesn't have enough range. Although Rel has even less range than that Glacial Fissure, she really gets into the backline. She goes in, she can flash, she dashes forward, she gets the stun. She is very good with those skirmishes. So setting things up, especially with the hero's entrance from Galio and the little sleepy time from Lilia, you really can get things going for a good mid game for UMF. But we saw them having a good composition for mid game that fell a little short. They really need to execute this well now, Fish, because it could be final game of the series.
Yeah, it's already 1-0 for IUC in this best of 3, and I agree with everything you said. I think you made an excellent point. The combo is there, right? The Rel, then the Galio can come in with the Hero's Entrance on the Rel after the Magnet Storm, or you Hero's Entrance on the Lilia as she's trying to set up a massive sleep. The problem is, that's probably going to hit Lissandra, maybe Jarvan, maybe Cassante. How do we get to Xayah with that comp for UMF? That is my biggest concern. Is Rel going to have to flash Magnet Storm? Is then the Galio comes in? Are you going to have to maybe land a Swirl Seed to start off and get that CC early? That's the only thing about that comp for UMF that I love everything. That's a great wombo. But we saw that last time. They had a great wombo, and then Never Rejoice literally is not taking damage on the other side of the team fight, throwing out feathers. So that's my one concern. Somebody has got to find a way on to Never Rejoice, or UMF, it's going to look like deja vu for them in game 2, I think.
And to be fair, when we look at IUC as well, it's like just at the drawing board, just hypothetically, just with meta and macro in play. When we look at this team, we know that everyone wants to leave the Xayah. Flag and Drag, forward. Glacial Path, forward. Rakan, Hero's Entrance, forward. The Cassante pushing people away. So everything pushes people away from Xayah in a way that teammates are not going to be close to the Xayah. Whereas the Taric in the previous game was just like, I stick with the Xayah. I never leave because I don't have to leave to engage because he's going to peel. So maybe this is the one thing that UMF could really get on top of because of the potential of openings for flanks. When you see the Xayah get isolated, you don't have immunity with Taric anymore. So you really can go onto the Xayah easier this way. But it heavily relies on having better communication and read of the map, because we know they really have good vision. The vision is there, the wards are there, but they are not really executing on top of the information that they're really gathering. So if we see them really taking advantage of those openings, things could really get us to a game 3.
And that's the other thing that they did, not only the vision, but UMF succeeded when they roamed together, right? Send 3 players top lane, get a solo kill. Have 3 players go mid, force out a flash, then you end up catching, I think, the support in that Dragon Pit, or maybe it was Jarvan in that Dragon Pit trying to set up for Dragon. Roaming together is going to be the other thing. Take those numbers advantages. And I think you made a good point. Not only does everyone want to get away from the Xayah, the other thing, which, again, I think both of you and I agreed it probably should have been Rakan in game 1, but the dazzles from the Taric were so strong. You try and chase down the Xayah, throws out the dazzle, the Xayah just lines it up, gets the stuns. I think you're right. I do think there's a lot less protect the Xayah, but I'm still worried that we're going to say, all right, here's that big wombo. We hit it on a Jarvan. We hit Cassante. And then Xayah's just like, no one is in my vicinity. There is still no one next to me, and then I'm going to root you. But it's game 2, Sophchan, and we'll see if UMF can force us to a game 3, or if IUC can pick up their first win of the season in a 2-0 sweep.
Hoosiers Scream back again on the blue side, and UMF on the red. So choosing the red side once again, they knew they were going to have the counter picks. For being red side, they went for a different composition, but with similar ideas. A mid laner that can stand the front line like the Pantheon can, but can get into the back line. A Lilia that is a jungler with AP damage, leaving it again with an Aphelios. Oh, Cold Inferno.
Should be fine. Little risky there.
Well, I was actually worried about it, but maybe IUC was just like, that's not worth our time. Let's best just reposition for the first buffs of the game, because Jarvan was getting the red buff initially. So back they are. No aggressive wards from either side. It was definitely the idea from Cold Inferno. We saw Cold Inferno getting a good aggressive ward in the previous game. So IUC had Cassante in a good front line there to protect. And it worked out so well. None of the teams have any vision, but I would say that UMF would have a little more knowledge, considering they saw Jarvan going to the opposite side of the map.
This top and mid lane, I think, are the 2 lanes to watch. I feel like we Not to speak for you, Sophchan, but I think we're both in agreement. The matchups are better for UMF. They shouldn't throw away early solo kills as easily with these matchups, I think.
I agree. I am definitely on board. We have good synergy that way after, well, 3 seasons of NECC. Bot lane getting aggressive, but nobody really commits to anything, of course. Neither of them have level 2. Now they do.
That's the red for Lunamara, able to put out a decent bit of damage, and I do think that Taric pick, they landed a lot of Dazzle. I don't think Ketchup needs to, I think we maybe understand how well Ketchup played that Taric pick, but that Rakan, just a passive healing. Once they get level 6, the quickening to get that CC as well. But you look across the map, and this is what I like to see. Cold Inferno, still at about 80%. Loki, still at about 75%. This time last game, they were at 50% and in very critical danger as the knockup is going to land. But I think this is such a better start. We might get a little jungle action here topside with both of them finishing off their second buffs.
Yeah, we really should. Decision here on the bottom side, especially with fleet footwork for Aphelios to push in the wave, and Lilia going to the top side.
Swirling Seed is going to come in. Introvert going to try and create some distance. Flash forward. There's the W as well. And unfortunately, Jarvan decided to do a 6 camp start. So Introvert forced all the way back, forced to flash away. But ends up surviving. The tankiness of the Cassante there, as we do see Taunt is going to land onto Red Garden. And this time Loki sustaining, but interesting that maybe Lambo had a lot of faith in his top laner, said you could sustain, you don't need to worry about it, because they left that Cassante on an island for a really, really long time.
Yeah, they sure did, and considering Cassandra was pushing out forward as much as they did, mid lane, you get a stun again. Loki, a lot of damage raining in, but it's not going to be enough just yet. Oh, wow. Red actually got them very low. Top lane, another gank.
Oh, here comes the Swirl Seed. It lands once again. Here, looking for the to watch out, but it gets knocked away.
Whoa.
Great disruption.
No way.
Shot. They at least trade, and I think Jarvan's coming up, but not able to get in range, it looks like. That was a Introvert couldn't have played that any better.
Yeah, agreed. So close there we got, as we saw the advantage for Lilia being much more proactive than a Fiddlesticks can be in this game. So Popcorn doing super good on it. Great opening. You get the flash wasted. Bot lane always super aggressive, but top lane is the focus for both junglers thus far. You had the TP used by Introvert. Flash was always also burned, but the fact that they guaranteed a 1-for-1 in that trade, I still can't really understand. I know it did happen. I know how it happened, but I didn't think it was going to. And with that pushback, guaranteeing the tower aggro onto Cold Inferno, 1-for-1 is what you want in this early game.
Ooh, Root does land on to Never Rejoice. Lunamara gonna dodge a couple of feathers. Crashdown comes here as well from the Rel. Gonna get rooted up, and here comes the Jarvan. The flash immediately coming out from the support for UMF, not wanting to deal with it. Didn't even know Jarvan is there. There is no vision in that river. Just a lucky flash away to survive, and we'll see if they get a re-engage. Meanwhile, Justice Punch is going to land, but the taunt misses. The Shield of Durand canceled too early. Could have been a near kill there for Loki in that mid lane.
Very close indeed, and a lot of time being used by Jarvan here in this bot lane. No vision, as you said, but is UMF going to commit to it? No pings in the map, as the mid lane was the biggest of threats. Red Garden and Loki, but Cold Inferno, when did this happen? A kill for the Introvert in a 1v1, getting them up to 2-1.
Ooh, the knockup is going to land. Crashdown used to create space. Lambo looking for the flash, but the flag and drag doesn't find the knockup, but still able to get that empowered auto off and take down the Rel. Swirl Seed comes down the lane. And this top lane kill happened. I mean, you pointed this out in game number 1 when you saw it, Sophchan. Cold Inferno didn't teleport back in game 1 when he got first blooded. Didn't teleport back in game 2 when he died in that 1-for-1. He was 2 levels down and just kind of got stat checked by Introvert there on that top side kill.
Yeah, they did. As soon as you get the level 6, it's a power spike you're always going to take advantage of, especially in solo lanes fish. So very nicely done by IUC. Good engage there on the bottom side as well. It was potentially a setup for Drake, but then Lambo said, no, we are going to go for a kill instead. They take down that bottom lane. The support goes down. 1 kill gets an advantage for the IUC bot lane to control the wave. As we can see there, they are slowly pushing that lane. So whenever Jarvan is back, they can have priority for Drake.
One thing that we still haven't seen that I think is the combo that at least I was looking forward to is the Swirl Seed just ends up clipping there.
No.
Is that Hero's entrance from Loki. Haven't seen it yet. You are going to see Popcorn walk on top of a ward. Not quite level 6, but that's the one thing at Dragon that I think maybe IUC is scared of. You have that Hero's entrance. Really don't have any other ults to combo it with right now, but maybe a Popcorn can hit level 6. I think that's something IUC is very, very scared of in team fights, and we've already seen both these teams very adverse to Dragon. They're just like, you know,
Nah.
Hextech Dragon, big stats early in the game. I don't need it.
Yeah, and it's as you said, it's not just a Drake, it's a Hextech Drake, it's like having an Infernal Drake, and, well, they really feel like they don't need it. And I would say this is a case more of, we understand that we want to try to have control over the players before we have control over the map. So I think that's okay. I think it's a good start, especially when you're in the Emergence division. So that's what they're doing. So far, IUC building out a little bit of a lead on the gold and kills, but nobody really rotating for those concrete objectives. Now, the only thing that's being done is a Herald there by Lambo, and it could be translating into a kill and a Herald bash in the top lane soon.
I think that has to be the play. I think getting Introvert ahead, Cold Inferno last game, leave 0-5 on the Renekton, not off to a great start in this one at 0-2 and down 15 CS. I think taking that lane, removing it from contention, especially with how even the rest of the lanes have been. I mean, you see CS dead even on the bottom side of the map, only a 10 CS difference in the mid as well. I think you're right. I would have loved to see him go top. But meanwhile, speaking of junglers, we're going to see Swirl Seed is going to miss, but the Lullaby is available potentially. It is going to land onto both members, but they're under the tower. Nobody did anything during Popcorn's ult. A great job, and I think maybe a miscommunication. Maybe you wait for Magnet Storm, but they had the setup, but nobody wanted to go in.
Very interesting as well, because we saw that the Feather Storm was used, but the feathers were already pulled back, so they couldn't do it for the snare. And now they continue doing damage, being under the tower. IUC has the lead.
Did see a Moonlight Vigil go out on the bottom side. Didn't look like it was able to do enough damage. Never Rejoice at about 30%. There was that Herald both you and I were looking for, but Cold Inferno does a great job on the island. Only loses 2 plates. Doesn't get dove either, as the knockup just misses on the Lunamara. And I think
did you see the fleet footwork?
Oh, taunt? Justice Punch? I mean, Loki's playing that mid matchup really well. The problem is we do see Crashdown going to come out here. They're trying to take down Never Joyce. Exhaust going to come out, Ignite onto Lunamara as well. Both native carries get traded out. It's the Portal Combat on the bottom side of the map. I think Sophchan is going to be able to get away. But the one downside, Sophchan, is Never Rejoice got the kill for IUC, and Sophchan got the kill for UMF.
Yeah, you really want your carries to have that extra bit of juice, but it wasn't the case, although UMF did guarantee the first Drake of the game, so the Hextech is going to go for the UMF team. Sophchan actually going forward. Both of them doesn't have much mana and no backup, so it's just for the sake of trading and trying to get some zoning in that wave. At this moment, neither of them are going to lose many minions, but I am very happy to see that this bot lane is going much better for UMF. A 1-for-1 is definitely light years ahead from what we had last game.
No, Never Rejoice already with more deaths this game in 10 minutes than they had all of last game. Cold Inferno with a nice stun under the tower. Hey, that's a start, right? Like, hey, we've killed Never Rejoice. Not going to get their Unslayable Demon King achievement this game. Not going to add to the stacks. I'm sure they already have.
It's true, Fish. It's true. And I agree with you with what you said since the draft. Loki being Galio stands that ground so much better alone. And we see so far they are doing super great. Having those stuns, having those taunts. Oh, Glacial Prison. It's not enough.
It's not enough for the kill. You see Lambo coming in. One more auto attack. The green smite. Gonna get taken out. Meanwhile, the Introvert has to flash away, and a great shutdown for Cold Inferno. So both junglers show up to lanes. Both of them pick up kills, and as we're praising Loki right on cue, unfortunately does get picked off. But again, much better to have their first death here at 11, nearly 12 minutes in than they had last time.
Yeah, and it's a 5-for-3 3 overall. Cataclysm goes into Pop-Up Popcorn.
I don't think Lambo... Oh, he does. I did not think Lambo had the damage at all for that fight.
Excuse me. Oh, my God. Jarvan early game, 2-0-1. Oh, they had a God Drinker. That's why. That's why.
Nah, man,
the God Drinker was finished. Yeah.
Old Inferno does now have the level advantage. Unfortunately, Jarvan's here as well. They're going to give that kill over to Introvert, so 2 kills topside. Crashdown does go out. There's the Moonlight Vigil as well, but unfortunately not enough damage with that flamethrower and just a 2-man stack. So we'll be retreat. Here comes Galio, though. Like, Galio knows there's an ult that takes him across the back, right? Ketchup gonna try and get away from that Justice Punch. And now all of a sudden, Loki in a very bad spot. Shield of Durant going to go out, taunt. And do believe landed on to Never Rejoice. Root gonna come out from the feathers as well, but this looks like a retreat. Miskatacon and Luna Mara right around the corner.
I really like it from UMF. We not just saw them pushing out the lane, knowing that they had Galio to go into the backline, get a nice dive if the setup was there for it. We also saw them succeeding in that 2v2 in the bottom side, getting Never Rejoice in very low health while they were super healthy. I think that's huge for UMF. Such a big lead in comparison to the last game, and IUC still has built good lead on CS, on gold. Loki, oh, it's a 1v2, man.
Oh, the double taunt. That might be enough with Popcorn coming around the corner as well. Frozen Tomb going to go out. Hero's Entrance going to be used just to create some distance. Lulling Lullaby will put the Jarvan to sleep. Justice Punch going to land into the Shield of Durant. A great combo there. Flag and Drag and the Flash. He's alive. I think both Popcorn and Loki stopped attacking.
Yeah, maybe they did. Maybe they were trying to leave the last hit for the other teammate, but it didn't really happen. No takeouts on that one. Top lane might just be the first break taken by IUC in this game. Really building a lead again on objectives, but UMF on a good spot, having the first Drake confirmed.
That tower very low. I think Cold Inferno just needs to run away. A couple attacks here from Introvert. This is going to be an easy kill. Introvert, just hit the tower! Hit the tower! The minions took care of it. Now, though, the dive kind of ruined. You see Popcorn is rotating up here. Great stun going to come out as well. Cold Inferno gonna pop that Dominus, turn the fight on Introvert. You can see Popcorn just appearing on the bottom side of your screen. Meanwhile, we got to teleport bot side. Here comes Red X Garden. The Cataclysm into the root. Everybody's gonna take down Luna Mara. And they absolutely obliterate the 80 carry from UMF.
Great play by IUC, knowing that the Popcorn enemy jungler was in the top side. Nothing they could do to try to defend this. Lambo going on to end this. Support is just as good as Dead Fish.
Very tanky on the rel. Have to manage this tower aggro well. Featherstorm gonna come out. And a pick up there for Never Rejoice. Thought maybe they had enough to at least take somebody down, but great tower juggling there from IUC. And this is around the time in the last game, things started to snowball out of control. It's about a 4.5k gold lead, Sophchan, and this is where UMF needs to find those shutdowns onto somebody to get back in this game.
And they're getting close here. There was a seed. I don't know if it hit. And the Glacier Path is enough to take them out of dodge. Luna Mara is in the mid lane, so lanes have been swapped. First, one Drake contested here by IUC is going to be the Ocean Drake, and the curse is back. Fish and Sophchan, Cloud Soul is back on the rift.
Probably a decent thing if you're a UMF fan, just because they are so far behind. They don't need to worry about losing dragon fights because, again,
they already have Hextech, right?
Yeah, they have Hextech, and I mean that's one Hextech's better than unlimited Cloud Dragons. Unfortunately, the poor dragon. As you said, you and I see most often here in the NECC, but still will help a little bit. I think that movement speed after the ult, not bad for Rakan. I'm trying to hype it up as best I can. I apologize.
Yeah.
I think that's a win for UMF because it's not a power dragon like Inferno we saw last game, where once Inferno Soul came through, they were just basically getting absolutely destroyed. So I think you take it if you're a UMF. You say, cool, we don't have to worry about dragons for a while.
Definitely, it's not a priority, and interesting, as much as we felt like UMF was doing better, going on to the back lane.
It had the, Lambo's there. I don't think they expected that. Can catch it. There's the quickening, gonna land the charm.
Wow.
But where's the Zaya there? Finally, Never Rejoice comes in, but doesn't matter. Lambo at 3-0-4 has more than enough damage And Never Rejoice picks up a kill. I will say, IUC somehow, I don't know how, but every time Never Rejoice knows how to kill secure, and that is such a massive difference compared to UMF, because there's 1 assist for Lunamara, and there's 4 kills for Never Rejoice.
Oh yeah, and mid lane going once again 1v1 Loki, dealing quite a lot of damage. Glacial Path gets them out of danger. Bot lane tier 1 is going to be taken down by IUC Fish. And I agree with you, actually I was noticing some of the things that Never Rejoice does, and it is using the Feather Storm not to finish people off. They do it for the damage, yes, but they don't pull out the feathers from the Feather Storm. I noticed that they have been using the snare previously to guarantee that the CC was going to be chained. At some stages, I would feel like it's not the best call, but sometimes it really does work well.
Got another dive onto Introvert in the mid lane, but Loki dropping very, very low. There's LoL gonna come out. Loki barely alive. Introvert cannot quite get in range. Never Rejoice is here. There's Red Guard as well. Root going to land into the Frozen Tomb. Hero's Entrance going to come out. A great knockup, but Loki was at about 5% HP, so basically jumped into his death like a true hero would. Cold Inferno going to pop the Dominus, try and get something for this play, but there is just not enough damage on the side of UMF. 2 more members go down, and it feels like deja vu starting to appear here in game number 2, Sophchan.
Big lead there, going out for the kill for the Introvert. A lot of damage on the hands of the Scasante. Loki almost taken down. Ultimate there by Popcorn, using just on the Soul top laner. So big cooldown wasted. They're going to meet each other here. Lambo in the jungle. Who's going to get the buff? It is going to be... it was Lilia.
Well, unfortunately, this might be a buff transfer here in just a moment. Popcorn can't get to the sea. How does he keep getting these kills? I don't understand.
Yeah. I think, yeah. Oh man, it's definitely interesting, and it was one thing that I was going to point out as well. We saw Never Rejoice being at the edge of the team fight, as we always see them, and when we saw the hero's entrance there by Loki, I thought they were going to be able to dodge it. As soon as they noticed they were still in the range, great Feather Storm to get the invulnerability frame. Super well done, guaranteeing that you were going to stay safe. And we talked about 10 minutes into the game, 1 kill, or actually 1 death for the Xayah. It still remains, it remains 1 kill 10 minutes later. 1 death.
Unfortunately, their kills have increased in size very greatly. Now is 7 Frozen Tomb going to come out. There's the knockup with the Flag and Drag from Lambo, and this is simply a dead Galio. We'll see who picks up the kill. It will be Red Garden, and now that lead ballooning up to 9,000 gold. And really, for IUC, this is a great chance to prove if they can finish the game a little bit quicker than last time in the current state. At least press their early advantage right now, Sophchan, because you can get a 20-minute Baron, and then you can start to shove down the lanes.
You really can. The Jarvan, so powerful. Anything with Glacial Tomb, so great on team fights. We'll see if this is going to be the case, as they are really rotating for this side of the map for Baron. But I don't know, considering what we saw from them last game, I think they're still going to take this nice and slow, which is a shame considering this big of a lead. This could be a 22-minute game.
Looks like there was some confusion. You saw the pings go out from the 3 members standing at Baron, but Cassante and Jarvan had backed, so now we kind of get this awkward dance around Baron. You do see UMF is going to head to that Cloud Soul, or this Cloud Dragon, excuse me, but just take the Baron. Just turn around. Cloud Dragon is not worth it. You can lose the Cloud Dragon if you're IUC. Jarvan has started up the Baron, forcing the team in that direction. This will be a nice objective bounty picked up for UMF, a nice bit of gold. Unfortunately, Cloud Dragon not going to be the greatest thing, but this will be a nice Baron trade, and I like to play from IUC.
Yeah, getting a lot of damage dealt onto the Baron, already down to 50%. UMF nowhere to be seen on the other side of the map, as they have just guaranteed their Cloud Drake. Blue team has laned Baron Nesha, and with that, they could go for such a big split push, take down tier 2s, take down tier 3s, because they are just that strong. And with the Baron buff, things are just much easier at this stage.
That's something hopefully they can do. Last game, they Wasted a lot of that first Baron buff. Love to see them get at least a tier 2 mid and top from this push. Red Garden doing a great job just staying in range, letting that empowered cannon minion do most of the work on the tower. This tier 2 top should fall relatively easily with Introvert and Never Rejoice. There you see Ketchup and Lambo kind of running interference as well. Galio still bottom side of the map, has the teleport, has the hero's entrance, going to pick up a nice objective bounty and start to shrink that near 10k gold lead.
Yeah. Just 9,900. And mid lane is going to be devastated on the side of UMM. That tier 3 slowly being taken down. But some resilient defense by the red team. Still trying to push these people away from that base. The buffed up recall is going to get them out. But there's Red Garden with a TP that could go in the flanks.
Garden, where will the TP come? As you said, there it is. It's right on a minion, right in the middle of the map. Hero's entrance going to be used. Knockup not going to convert. Now here's Red Garden. You can see finally Sophchan got on to Never Rejoice, but it's not going to matter. There's just too much damage on the rest of the map. Lunamar going to pick up one, and now the Xayah is here to free farm. A couple of kills picked up. They are able to take down Ketchup. But that is the only kill. They'll get in the ace, and with Baron buff, this should just simply be game for IUC. 30 seconds on all the death timers besides Popcorn, but I don't know what the Lilia could do here.
Base exposed, nothing the little deer can do to defend this base. And UMF could be looking at the final game of the series tonight. Fish, IUC pushing out the Nexus turrets. They are very close to finish this one off in a sweep.
Lullaby's still up for Popcorn, and you see here come the rest of the team. Maybe they have what it takes. Red plus white as well for Lunamar and Moonlight Vigil going to come out. They're able to get a huge shutdown onto the Introvert. Can they get a Lilting Lullaby? It's going to land on a Never Rejoice, and immediately...
What?
No, they get taken out. Great job by Lunamara, who gets a couple of shutdowns. Unfortunately, the Lissandra clones take him out, and it's a start. I'll put it that way. It's a start for UMF with a couple of big 900 gold shutdowns here right in the nick of time. As we see, Loki might be able to get Ketchup here as well. Give him the thumbs up. And this should be a dead support. There's no one else on the map for another 15 seconds. But this Rakan might just be fast enough. You got to hit the seed. You got to hit the seed, Loki. There we go. A great job. But unfortunately, the tower will stop him.
It will end. Because of the amount of pressure IUC has asserted all around the map, there is just one tower taken down by UMF. The bot tier 1 on the side of IUC is the only exposed side of the blue team. And things just begin to look, well, like we're reaching an inevitable end. Fish. And for IUC, I feel bad because we were like, yeah, you can push 22-minute game, and then they did, and they died. So it's unfortunate that was the case, but it happens sometimes. It's worth it because you expose their inhibitor in the mid lane. The super minions help hugely, and whatever you can get afterwards is going to be so good into getting into a win stage.
Yeah, worst case for IUC, Baron up in 2 minutes. I think that kind of gets you to that win stage you were talking about. The one thing you need to be careful about, and I'm sure any player who's played League of Legends has been there, don't throw yourself at the Nexus just to try and win, right? It looks so tasty. There's only one tower up. As you said, there's super minions pushing. But I think IUC can afford to play this slow, play for the correct win condition, not just to win. But based on game one, I don't think they'll struggle with that. I mean, right now you even have Introvert just kind of pushing that mid lane all by himself, going to hold people off of this tier 2 tower, potentially open it up. There's a dragon up in 24 seconds if you want as well. We do see the full engage going to go on to Introvert, but he is just simply too tanky on this Cassante. 4 members are there. The Cataclysms are going to come out, and
oh my god.
I think Lambo might be made a baited his jungler with the exhaust coming through. The stun lands over the wall. The flash from Cold Inferno will be a kill. And now Popcorn trying to run down Red Garden Company. Still has the Lullaby if they want to use it. They're going to pop it just onto Lissandra. It's going to be immediately broken. Hero's entrance coming in. Gets a huge knockup. Never tries trying to use that Feather Storm for the room, kiting backwards. A great 4-minute
oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Never Rejoice just doesn't have the damage, but here comes Introvert, the man who started it all. Looking for a follow-up kill. 2 members very low. Can Lunamara kite backwards with the purple gun? Gravitum going to be able to root every so often, and I think this might just be enough. for UMF to find, and A's gonna get
Oh,
pulled
is it?
back there. Lunamar just
And
needs
they
to shoot him.
defend it. Can you believe
the
it?
base!
They defended it.
The Winions!
Oh my god!
The Winions took the tower!
The tower!
The Nexus is being attacked by the super minions as Introvert goes down. Do they get the backs off in time? They're not backing. I think a minion wave spawn. No, you have to.
No! The minion's down! The wave is down! And they're not coming back! Okay, okay. The support finally arrived while the rest of the team decided to prioritize this next Drake, getting themselves a soul point. But Fish, what a valiant response for UMF, finally getting things out of dodge in that base, defending bottom lane, getting such a big wall onto that fountain, and finally they got some time. They got some extra time, and the lead has shrunk. It's down to 6, around 7k from 11,000. Still, IUC kiting back, especially Never Rejoice on that bottom lane is huge, as they are close to guaranteeing the second Baron of the game, and they are. Blue team has slain Baron Nesha. This could be the last run of the series.
This probably is your final fight for UMF or IUC. Unfortunately, as you said, they got everything they needed, right? IUC got way too aggressive on the Cassante, but the Winions themselves take down that Nexus turret, so it is an exposed Nexus right now. You can see Cold Inferno does have the teleport, but the charm is going to land. Hero's Entrance going to come in. Lilia and Renekton are not in this fight. It's a 5v3, but Lunamara putting out a ton of damage. It is going to be taken out. There's a swirl sweep for Popcorn. Renekton still not back in the fight, and Never Rejoice is feasting tonight. Finally, Cold Inferno gets back, but too little too late for the Renekton. Unfortunately, we'll just find a death, and this will be GG. Looked like for a moment UMF maybe had the dream. The inhibitor did unfortunately respawn, so they now have to take care of that, but that should be quick work, and this will be a 2-0 sweep for IUC here to start off week 5 of the NECC. Sophchan.
Nexus finished ace and a huge lead of around